Hi, guys. So, welcome to this new episode of the Media and Content Business Podcast. And this week, I have the co founder of Signal here with me, which is a newsletter. And Venkat, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Venkat, and first of all, thanks for having me and the
Great.
Signal
Yeah, thanks.
on
Thanks
this
for.
pod. Happy to be here. But yeah, and just to take off from where I left,
Right.
this is Venkat. I am the co-founder and CEO of the Signal,
Right.
which is a daily free-to-read curated newsletter. That arrives in your inbox at 8 o'clock, email inbox at 8 o'clock,
Right.
where we sort of curate and offer you sharp, original, rich insights on topics around business, technology, economy, policy, finance,
Right.
sports, streaming, the content business, as you
Great. Great.
also
You guys
highlighted.
also have a podcast, is what you've mentioned.
Yeah, we do have. So that's the first part of. I mean, that's our core product.
Right.
The second product that we also have is called the Intersection, which
Right.
which 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 comes out every weekend,
Right.
and serves one originally reported story around the topics that we usually cover in the Signal. And the third part is, yeah, and you're right. I mean, we do have a podcast called the Signal Daily, which
Right.
we started sometime in September last year, if I remember correctly,
Great.
which has seen steady growth in the last year or so, like 11 months.
Great.
But more about myself. I mean, I'm from Bombay.
Right.
I've been a career journalist.
Right. The Ken, you've been in
Yeah,
Mint,
so
Economic Times, and
correct.
everywhere.
So I
Right.
mean, I started my career as a sports journalist. Actually, I used to be a cricket writer with
Awesome.
the Hindustan Times in Delhi.
Okay.
And then I pursued my masters in political science. So it's a bit of a mishmash there.
Okay.
But after coming back to India, I was obviously a columnist at Yahoo. I used to write extensively on cricket, the politics of cricket, the business of sport.
Right.
And then in 2014, I joined Mint,
Okay.
where I was what they called a buzz editor. I still do not know what it means today, but it was one of
But you
the.
were basically covering cricket.
No, I was writing for their website, but at the
Okay.
same time, I was also covering the business of sport, the business and politics of sport, actually,
Right.
and just writing cool stuff. And I mean, it was interesting until I got a call from Rohin and Ashish Mishra, who were co-founders at the Ken.
Ken. Right.
So to
I think
hop
that's your entry into the tech
yeah,
space.
so that's that you
Yeah.
could absolutely say that. I mean,
Right.
that was a reset. Sports was a bit of a past, and then I mean, Rohin and Ashish were very instrumental in sort of switching me to business tech,
Right.
writing. And yeah, I mean, I was technically employee number two, and I had a
Wow.
very
So
good time at the Ken. I mean, it was a great experience, obviously. And then I moved on to the Economic Times, where I was
right.
senior assistant editor,
Okay.
focusing on technology features.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, particularly the last 6, 7, 8 years have been eventful, in the sense that I think it's been a interesting journey
Right.
of multiple sort of transitions, right? I mean,
Right.
from a traditional newsroom to a startup, to once again to a traditional sort of newsroom, and now you're back to sort of a startup. And
Right.
obviously, and one of the curious things was, I could sort of see how the evolution of the.
Exactly. I actually want to come to that,
Yeah,
Venkat. So I'll tell you what, you
if I could
mentioned, yeah.
expand a little.
Sure, sure. But let me ask you this first, right? Because what you were also telling
Yeah.
earlier, right? There've been waves of the
Yes.
content format, right? And you've been a part of everything from the newsrooms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Traditional
Yeah.
newsrooms. You went into startups which are more of subscription based.
Yes.
And then there was something in between, like scroll media is something which you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And finally, you've come down to the Signal, which is a completely new and a different format. Like
Correct.
you said, it's the third wave. Could you just walk
I
us
mean,
through
I,
this?
I mean, I don't want to call it the third wave. I know it sounds fancy. It's
Right,
it's
right,
it's
But it,
pretty-
it is something different, definitely, because
Yeah,
this is the
so
first time we're seeing something like this in India, right?
yeah. So I mean, obviously, this is sometime in 2014. There was this whole wave of sorts, if you want to call it,
Right.
globally. Particularly in the US, you had this whole explanatory journalism model that was coming into
Right.
play with Vox.
Vox was there, BuzzFeed.
Yeah, BuzzFeed was obviously making waves in terms of the kind of stuff they were doing. Listicles,
Vice Media also.
Vice Media was
Right.
making a play as well. So
Right.
you're right. So that probably was the arc. That's the start of the arc, if you want to call it.
Right.
Where people started consuming a lot of content, which is quote unquote topical, in the sense it was SEO driven.
Yes, it was a
So it
time
was
where
a
you-
search, yeah, where monetization was largely platform based, where
Right.
Facebook would pump in money so that you can churn more of those.
Right, right.
It was a
Volume-based
it was
game
yeah,
and-
it was a volume based game. Value very
Very
minimal,
less,
except for for players like Vox who held on, and sort of have grown since then.
Right.
In India, obviously, you have that phase where you had the likes of Scroll, the
Right.
Quint.
Right.
Catch News was one of the
Okay.
players
Never
that was
heard of
there.
them.
Yeah, Catch News was, I think, Rajasthan Patrika, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there's something called Array also.
Array came later,
Yes.
which was, I think, backed by Ronnie Screwvala. So,
yeah.
so you had that second wave. I mean, not second wave; it was the first wave of sorts.
Right.
And then I think the Wire was founded around that time, if I'm not mistaken.
News Laundry also. I
News
think.
Laundry came
Yes.
at that time. Exactly. So, and then we sort of moved to this thing where there is this slight, I would say, rebellion against volume of content that you consume.
Right.
Where the whole thesis is around less is more.
Right.
Not more is not good. So less is more is a slightly more easier way to go.
Okay.
So they start, and this happens even in the US. So you have the likes of, this also coincides a little bit in the run up to the Donald Trump sort of presidency, where you saw paywalls selling out really well. So
Right.
there is some momentum that builds with, let's say, with the information in the US, which is also a subscription based, a business tech publication, which
Right.
was started by ex WSJ sort of journalists.
Okay.
So it starts from there, and then I think Rohin, to be fair to him, and absolute hats off to him, was very early into recognizing that opportunity.
Okay.
That I think there is a discerning, there's a market which is very discerning, which doesn't want a lot. So
Right.
can we sort of do high quality journalism, hardcore journalism, and speak truth to the so-called startup ecosystem at that time, which was still in its early years.
Right.
Because at that time, to be fair, I think we were seeing occasionally good reportage mixed with a lot of fluff.
Right. Exactly. That's 2015 era, right?
Around
That's-
2014-15. So
Right.
obviously, I think there was an opportunity to sort of try and bring the ecosystem back to the center, to hit reset, to see what was going on,
Right.
to put the lens on it.
Exactly.
So Rohin, I think, to be fair, Rohin, Seema, Ashish, Sumant, all of them, Ashish obviously back then
Right.
was part of the founding team.
Now he's running contests,
Correct.
yeah.
We'll come to that, but so it was very. I think I wouldn't call them. I mean, I would call them at the right place at the right time.
Right.
And I think they saw the opportunity very early. And I think it also reinforced one thing, that I think what they also proved was that emails could be a potential distribution platform. We had heard about newsletters, but all of those were like,
There wasn't
CMS,
that
say,
phase.
CMS, yeah, so
Right.
it used to come via CMS, auto, send.
Right.
It was basically like what a content marketer would do, just like, put some graphics.
Send it in
and
bulk mail via MailChimp
bulk
and all
mail.
that,
Yeah, so
right.
it was not engaging. It
Right.
was not.
But I think, more than the delivery mechanism, it was more about the content, like you spoke about. Like, there was this section of population which really wanted
Yeah.
proper news, proper journalism, and not the fluff that was being,
Yeah,
churned out in
pumped up,
volumes.
yeah, so
Right.
so no,
But-
which is fair.
but-
I'll just end that part by saying that, look, I mean, that second phase or
Right.
second wave, if you want to call it, I think it sort of saw a pandemic slump.
Okay.
I mean, obviously subscription. My understanding, I mean, I don't know their numbers. I can't speak for them,
Right,
but
right.
obviously there is a certain plateau that's happening. I don't have to reiterate the fact that Netflix is losing numbers.
Exactly.
All of these other players
So you're
are
telling
dipping
me that the
numbers.
subscription fatigue is happening in this space as well?
I mean, it is bound to, right? I mean, it is bound to, and to me, unless it is very utilitarian, right? Unless
Right.
it is central, unless let's so.
Don't worry.
No, so where I'm coming to is that I think there is legitimate subscription fatigue,
Right.
and this is across the board. This is not just in India, globally, as we discussed, Netflix, so Disney Plus. I mean, obviously they've seen an uptick in subscriptions,
Right.
and other players. But I mean, obviously, it's an interesting market, and I think they are fighting it out. They are slugging
Right.
it out, and obviously the big fishes are also there now. Economic Times is doing well. I mean, they've sort of, I mean, you could say they've come from behind and sort of leapt forward, right? So
And then
and cap
there's-
table is coming to
that's
the play.
competition, right? But you know what? That's
Yeah.
that's there. But I want to really understand where
So-
this jump now.
Yeah, so
to where you
where
guys
we
are.
yeah, so where we see the leap, and personally where I see the leap is that, I mean, obviously it is a bit of a wheel turning itself again, right?
Okay.
So you are going to see. I mean, the first part, the first SEO led wave was also about curation. Then
Okay.
it flipped to no, curation is too much. Let's go to original reporting.
Okay.
Now, original reporting, obviously, I think these companies have matured over a period of time, and they've seen the market, they've scoped the market and stuff. But where we see a potential was, or how we see this potential was, or how we arrived at that potential was largely because of, yeah, so certain companies that held their own in the US, particularly Axios is a great
Right.
model that I kind of looked up to, but that also goes back to its Politico roots,
Right,
the Politico playbook
Right.
that Jim Van de Hey and Mike Allen used to helm.
Right.
Similarly, obviously, Morning Brew has been the more talked about company because of how it has sort of, how it could capture a lot of people through the pandemic. Like as I said, right, it's a behavioral thing. It's not a content thing. Yeah, I mean, you can sound all cool and all, but you still have to make people open that mail in the morning. So
Right.
so to me, I think the behavior aspect is where is where this wave is more interesting, because I think there is. It's not so much the content, because content can be solved for. I think
Okay.
you can hire good journalists, and they sort of will inevitably deliver.
Okay.
But I think it's about shaping people's behavior. I think it's about giving them. I think one of the things that we feel has worked in our favor so far is that we may not do original reporting, but
Okay.
what we end up doing is we do original insights. So
Right. Right.
the-
So I was actually about to come to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the little bit, that one line, two line about X, why X happened, why Z happens, why A happens. I think that is the value add that we offer. It's hard for me to explain it, but a
Right.
lot of people have been using it. A lot of people understand it. Like, for example, just the other day we wrote about how Apple's entry into India in terms of manufacturing the iPhone 14 was a very similar a play to what GE did, right?
Okay.
Back in the day.
All
So these kind of little bit insights that make a difference to a reader's understanding of that subject.
Are you also adding your viewpoint there, or it's just
It depends. We don't typically add opinion,
Right.
but we sometimes do end up taking a crack at, let's say, Mark Zuckerberg doing, let's say if Facebook has screwed up again, we don't mind saying it
Right.
aloud.
Right.
Or if Elon Musk, I mean, yeah, we do take a lot of takes on Elon Musk because he's provocative.
Right.
Or he himself is polarizing. So it's not opinion. It's not hardcore opinion, but
Right.
it's just like fun, sometimes goofy takes.
So you guys are basically banking more on serving the new behavior, right?
Yes, I think the behavior, I mean, at it, so one of the things we, again, going back to behavior, and I obsess about it a lot, because I think that's where, that's one way of looking at it, because like I said, content is solvable,
Right.
audiences are there, the market is there. So what do you want to do? You want to make the signaler 8 o'clock habit, 8 to 9 o'clock, you wake up, you read everything. So one of the things that we legitimately use during our fundraise, one line that I would usually use was that we're not particularly here to make you informed, because we assume you are informed. We're just here to make you that much more smarter, right? We want you to be equipped to go and face your colleagues, your boss, to be, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we also understand that generation out there,
Right.
which and I don't say it in a disparaging manner,
Right.
which is very validation oriented.
Okay.
This comes from our behavior, observing their behavior on social media. I
Okay.
mean, there is this whole LinkedIn content creation
Right.
complex. There is this Instagram Reels complex. There is
Right.
this Twitter Threads complex. So obviously, for them, I think once they sort of start, and it's very aspirational. It's a legitimate.
We've always been an aspirational society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, and especially this audience, I think it sees content, it sees knowing more, learning more as a way to get ahead in life.
So who
Yeah.
exactly is your TG, Venkat?
So I'll come to that. So I'll just sort of I'll just finish my train of thought. I think so where we are looking at is there. We are here to make people smarter about things.
Okay.
So you don't have to, and you don't, and our thesis is very simple, Jugal. It's very straightforward that we don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have enough of clutter on our feeds,
That's
on our news
definitely
feeds.
true, right.
Correct. So how do we optimize for that? How do we solve for that? So one aspect of the behavioral part is actually solving for behavior, make it into a habit
Right.
every day. And the other part, or every week, at least 4 times a week would be ideal for me.
Right.
But the other part of behavior is, yeah, there is so much happening. There is so much, and every hour there's the news cycle changes.
Exactly.
So how do you keep pace with that? So can I be your destination for that? You just
Right.
come to me. You need to know enough. Well, screw the clutter.
Right.
And we'll give you enough for you to.
I think that's actually happening because I am a consumer of your newsletter.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of open it up, like let's say 2 or 3 days every week, and
Sure.
just kind of go through it. I think that's the way I've been consuming it. And
Yeah.
even if I miss it, I'll go back and consume
Yeah.
the last 2 days. And I've generally been a big consumer of newsletters as well. And I think
Sure.
what you're speaking about exactly, that's the pain point as well. I don't want to go out there and
Yeah.
consume the clutter. And also, there's so much opinions out there.
Yeah.
There's so many. I think there's so many. What do you call it? Because of the politics these days,
Yeah, I mean, it's very polarized. So, but I'll come back to the TG question you briefly asked me.
Exactly.
If you want to ask again.
Yeah. No. So I wanted to, before the TG part, I want to say, so I had this question about content strategy, but you've kind of already answered it here, that you guys kind of curate content.
Yes.
Add in your little bit wherever
Yes,
you think
yes,
is going to add
yes.
value to the audience. And that's about it, right?
Yeah.
And then you have it on the podcast as well.
Yeah, we have it on the podcast as well, and occasionally we do get guests and experts and
Right,
stuff
right.
to just come and talk and add their 2 cents.
Right. And finally, the original piece of journalism comes out every
In the
Saturday.
intersection, in the intersection every Saturday. It's something that we all look forward to because it's where we all get to do our journalism. It's not
Right.
I mean,
You don't want to lose touch.
Yeah, we don't want to lose touch, and look, the hard part of running a media startup, at least for the last 1 year for me, has been that we tend to do things that we're not good at. In the sense, sales. I mean, I don't know sales, man. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out sales. Growth, again, I don't know growth.
Oh, I'm going to come to that, I'm going to come to that question. Yeah.
Sure. So we yes, I know. I mean, the whole hustle. If you're a startup founder, you have to hustle. Otherwise, you won't grow. Those kind of pressures that you have, right?
Right.
And I'm not putting it. The ecosystem does. So you have to. It sort of starts affecting you. And so one place where we all find our joys is going back to doing what we do.
Okay.
And what we know to do well. So which is
Right.
editorial work, which is writing, which is basically telling good stories. So
Right.
that's where we look forward to intersection. Our audience also actually looks forward a lot to the intersection. Sometimes it's just one of those things that takes off, and that's one place where we can actually excel. I mean, we actually put our ability on the map, right? We
Right.
shine through,
Right.
and it's not a competitive thing, but it's like we as journalists actually come through. Not that we don't do it in the Signal, we do
Right.
it every day in the Signal, but here we let ourselves free. It's
Right.
just like it's let your hair free, right? So
Exactly. Makes sense.
so that's where we are at. So
Great. So I'll come back to the TG question,
Sure.
right? You were speaking about the fact that you're solving for this
Yes.
new behavior that's kind
Yes,
of coming up.
yes.
So are you looking at particularly dividing the demographic, or
Yes.
do you think it's a behavior which is changing across
So-
all age groups?
Yeah, so I mean, I am, let me put it straight up and absolutely clear. I'm top of funnel.
Okay.
Email by default is top of funnel
Okay.
in this country at least.
Right,
So email, I mean, so let me say I am what they would call top of funnel and early middle funnel. I'm not long tail. So,
Okay.
in the sense, I'm not a next billion user product. Yeah, I mean, just a classical term. But where I'm coming from, Jugal, to answer your question, is very straightforward. We cater to a very evolved audience at one end.
Okay.
We have two very, very diverse audiences,
Okay.
and we are very extremely proud of that, actually.
Okay.
One extremely evolved audience, which is sort of CXOs, founders of startups,
Okay.
big tech senior executives in
Alright.
in the likes of Google, Meta, Amazon, some of the Valley guys,
Right.
venture capital fund partners,
Awesome.
co-founders, CTOs of
Right.
startups, etc. So that's and well, as we learned in the last 2-3 days, more and more policymakers are now joining in. So,
Okay, that's awesome.
which is great. So that's at the other end. But our fastest growing cohort is something that we have been wanting to get them on board, and we've been trying to see how best we could do it. So now, obviously, we are trying to put our growth hacks, but not exactly hacks. They're just simple, common sense things that you could use.
Right.
Which is early professionals. So students from top tier institutes, such as ISB.
IIMs and so forth.
Yeah, we go to every single IIM. We have a reader in every single IIM in this country, alumni and current batches.
Right.
ISB, NITs, BITS,
Okay.
law schools, journalism schools. So we've been very focused on that. And obviously this also, this cohort probably would have an average age of, let's say, 25, 26.
Okay.
Which is not particularly Gen Z, but it's a very interesting upper end of Gen Z, slightly evolved from the TikTok audience in the US type.
Okay.
So it's easier for me to sort of even monetize them at a later stage.
Definitely,
Right? So
right.
so they might not have purchasing power today, as my co-founder Rajnil will say, and he uses a term for them that they are this future business leaders. I tend to sort of agree with that.
Right.
Because it's interesting, right? I mean, a lot of them are aspirational, like you said, we are an aspirational country.
Right.
Some of these people want to go either abroad, work for these large tech companies, work for some of these startups.
Right.
So that is my core audience. They are product managers. I mean, we have product managers.
They're
we
basically
have
professionals at the end of the day who like
the
to
professionals,
probably-
early to that 25 to 27 second job fellows, I won't call them mid career, but they're still early career. I mean,
Early career
yeah. So
professionals.
they are folks who just come in. But one of the things I must tell you, and this has been a big revelation for us, is that we have students from engineering colleges in like tier 2, tier 3 cities who read us like regularly.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the fastest growing cohorts for us, and which is a fantastic thing, is women. So women read us. I mean, so typically
What's the split, men and women?
yeah. So I'll just come to that. So the misconception that exists in this newsletter industry is that women don't read newsletters. I mean, it's a general blanket statement.
Okay.
But
I
we've
didn't
been
know
able to
that. Okay.
flip. Yeah. So we skewed men. I would say we were around 80-20 till most of last year and early this year.
Okay.
But I think we have now narrowed the gap. I don't have the exact split right now. I can't give you the exact split because I don't know it.
Right.
But we are seeing, just by seeing.
But that's happening naturally, or are you guys doing something about
So
it?
we are working. I mean, we have a mix of organic and inorganic growth.
Right. I'm
It
going to
is-
come to that as well. Right?
Yeah, you can ask me a separate question on that. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick overview of that. So we're not going out there and chasing people.
Right.
We're not going out there and saying, yeah, if you're a woman interested in this, come sign. No.
Okay.
It's basically what we're doing is we are like I said, top of funnel.
Okay.
And if you want me to answer the growth question now, I'll answer it.
Yeah, please.
So very free flow ideas was split the entire audience into cohorts and add your own 2 cent stereotypes into it a little bit if you want. Like lawyers read a lot. Lawyers are likely to read more than, let's say, doctors because they don't have time.
Okay.
Like a product manager would want to know more about policy, so is likely to read a little bit more. Similarly, you have engineers, CXOs, etc., wanting to read. So we split the entire universe of folks into like small small cohorts, but we can engage with them better
On the basis of their behavior, on the basis
on
of
the
their
basis of their
expectations.
behavior and expectations, and I mean
How
behavior.
you can cater to them.
Yeah,
best.
but it was not some rocket science or something. I mean, I want to be very clear. We have not done some data science, AI, and all that. It was just simple talking to people. We talk to people. We talk to our readers every now and then.
Right.
We talk to people and find out how they read, what they like, what they don't like. And to that extent, we understand, like for example, if we know that this person's a lawyer, we sort of broad base it, but not excessively. I mean, we have lawyers who don't read as well. I'm not saying that they are the only ones who read and stuff. I mean, there are people who read occasionally.
Right.
But where I'm coming from is particularly around the fact that I think we have been successful so far, and touch wood, in sort of micro targeting in a way where, again, it is largely behavior led, and this largely happens on Instagram.
Okay.
To create relevant content, so a lot of people start picking up our content on Instagram.
Okay, Venkat, I'm going to stop you here just 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. You are at how many subscribers right now?
40,000 plus.
40,000
Correct.
plus, right?
I mean, just crossed 40,000 last night.
Okay,
So
great. Now the next question is, when did you guys start this out exactly?
start what out? Start
I mean,
the signal out.
The signal. When
The
did this begin?
signal. So Rajneel started it sometime in June 2020.
Right.
So obviously it was in public beta. I mean, he had a close group of people that he shipped it out to, and then obviously he grew the audience a little bit, and then so Dinesh, me, Patanjali, and Chinmay, we all came together last year in April to sort of take it to the
Right.
next level.
So that's how I want to now understand is initially Rajnil, when he started it out, he probably reached out to his family and friends.
Family
and
and
that's
friends.
how,
That's
that's how
typically your
Right.
your early believers. Yeah. So
Right. So the next set of users, how did they come in?
So I'll be honest. I mean, the next set of users came in. We added some, I don't know, 500, 600,000 people. Like when I announced that I was joining the setup.
Okay.
And every single announcement since then has been a bit of an organic.
Oh, so you guys come with your own influence because
We
you've been
come,
seniors
we
in
come
the
with
industry.
come with our own track record. We
Right.
come with our own
Right.
following, if we want to call it. It's not really that.
That
I mean,
really adds on to a lot of trust also.
it does,
Yes.
but it's not something that I put a lot of value in. But in these days, where I think social media currency is important, they all play a role.
Okay, so that was one hack where
that it
individual
was not
people-
a hack as such. It was just something that happened.
That
I mean,
happened,
like
right.
I quit Economic Times.
Right.
So there was a lot of curiosity. So one tweet was about quitting Economic Times. The other tweet was about, hey, I'm joining this, folks.
Right.
I'm just joining to build a signal, etc., etc. And every now and then we would do, like, every time there was somebody joining, we would put out a tweet. So they brought their own following.
Okay.
They brought their own audiences. So we had this, and it was not done with a growth hack in mind.
Definitely.
It was done with because we wanted to show we are growing.
Right.
As a company.
But that naturally helped you gain a lot of people.
It was to tell my readers, and cut the word show. So tell my readers that we are growing.
Right.
And with each of the people we add, they brought their own folks as
Right.
well. So
That's
to
just
that,
a natural extension of
exactly.
who you guys
And I
are,
think
right?
for us, one of the bigger organic growth driver was intersection, because I think, again, behavior, right? So one of the things that we observed, and we sort of spoke to people, a few people, even before we came up with this idea of intersection, was there are a lot of folks who with a lot of folks who subscribe to, let's say, the Ken, Morning Context, or Cap Table, or ET, or whatever. They were not prone to reading long form on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah. So they said, we don't have the time. 15 minute बैठ के कौन पढ़ने वाला है?
Okay.
20 minute बैठ के कौन पढ़ने वाला है? हाँ, story compelling होगा.
Okay.
मतलब it'll be a great story, but man, I don't have the time. So how do you fix that?
Okay.
So we felt that, I think, with intersection, again, there's a behavioral sort of signal that we've gotten now.
Right.
So let's flip the whole thing. Like, let's go to occasional long form. Let's go to 5 days of curated and 1 day of long form.
So that's really something which really worked
Because
out
people,
well for you guys.
yeah, because people end up reading Morning Context, Ken,
All right.
everything on the weekend.
All
I mean, all these subscription platforms, because they have paid money, so they have to read something.
Right.
So this is basis what they have told us. I mean, it's not my assumption or anything.
Right.
But they sort of they bulk it up until the weekend and then sort of read it. A lot of, I mean, at least from people we spoke to, I'm sure this is not majority behavior, but at least my overlap, I can tell you that.
Oh no, definitely. I think that would make sense also, because at the end of the day, you read it up on a Saturday, and if you even see a lot of newsletters coming out from them saying that this is the list of articles that we've written
So
this week.
correct. So we saw that, and to a large extent, I think intersection, like I said, was about showcasing our skills. Right.
Right.
I mean, when our byline goes in, so mine, Dinesh, Roshni Nair,
Right.
Like Patanjali, a lot of our people who have.
So were people kind of referring this, which led to your growth, or
Yeah, we
How
had a
was it?
lot of people sharing our articles.
Okay, so that original journalism kind of
Yeah,
led
the
to people coming
original,
in.
but there was a lot of curiosity about what is this intersection.
Okay.
And one thing we do, and one of the things that we've done with this newsletter particularly, is that it's an opt out. It's not an opt in. So it's like a Signal ka weekend extension, right?
Okay.
So whoever reads the intersection, whoever signs up for intersection ends up. But we have noticed that people do stick for the Signal.
All right.
So there is a huge audience which reads the Signal. I mean, we don't lie about expectations. We say we are curated. We are not saying we are paid this, that, and all.
Right.
Yeah, obviously we drive home the fact that we are free.
Okay. But
Which
tell me,
is
tell me something about the Instagram thing that you were speaking about. How do you go up to Instagram to get more people? Are you creating reels, or it's just randomly putting out
no.
content?
It's I mean we advertise on Instagram. I
Okay,
mean
so that's a paid part of it.
yeah, it's the inorganic part of it, right?
Okay.
We advertise on Instagram. We have no shame in saying that. I mean, I know it's a यार ये क्यों कर रहे हैं, but
No,
it's a I mean, for
requirement,
us, I'll
yeah.
tell you why, because I think it's a great platform to put the word out there, okay?
Exactly.
That we exist.
Huh.
As a young, I mean, that's like I mean, I know there are companies who want to grow by word of mouth. Great. I mean, word of mouth is also fantastic. We've also grown by word of mouth a little bit, but for us, I think with the audiences that matter, that platform gives us the opportunity to dive into.
So you guys think that Instagram has really been working for you guys?
It has been working for us a lot, actually. It has
Okay.
been actually, like, it has been a very unsung part of our growth story, actually.
So what's the split between the paid and the organic growth, if you don't mind sharing?
I cannot give you those numbers, but both of them actually do well.
Okay.
I mean, we keep adding people. Let's say for every 100 people we add by paid, there'll be around 40-50 by organic.
Organic.
On a daily-ish
Okay,
basis.
because this is really something very surprising, because I would assume that you're going to go out on Twitter and LinkedIn and advertise
No,
there.
so LinkedIn, the cost per lead is very high.
Okay.
Twitter doesn't make sense to advertise because your conversion rate is pretty high.
Okay.
So Instagram, actually, with a simpler call to action, with a straightforward audience, यार, I mean, आजकल यार ऑडियंसेस लिंक्डइन से ज़्यादा इंस्टाग्राम में डाल रहे हैं कि मैं IIM अहमदाबाद से हूँ, मैं IIT या रुड़की से हूँ, वगैरह
Right,
वगैरह.
right,
So
right.
for us, that's the the cream of that audience is there.
Okay.
So like I said, top of funnel, likelier to use Instagram, not likely to use some other short
Great.
video app,
Yeah,
right?
this is something very interesting that's come
Yeah.
out. Tell me something. Now, you also mentioned about the fact that you guys have readers at every institute.
Yes.
You guys have tried to break down your audience.
Yeah, but that's not by design. We've not gone to every institute and signed them up.
Okay.
We have I mean, there have been people who have vouched for us.
Okay.
Alumni rather,
Okay.
who have just like gone and spread the word. The current students, out of curiosity, like for example, every time a reader from one of these institutes write to us, we quickly tell them, hey, you know what? So glad to know that you enjoy reading us, but could you spread this among
But there's
your
no
classmates?
concerted effort from your end to
It's
go
not.
there.
It's just an email. Yeah. It's just. I mean, it's like what you just have to. I think for me, the greatest learning is you just have to talk to people.
Okay, and that's really...
That's it. That's it. You don't have to put in much effort. Just talk to people. Just be seen to be responsive.
Okay,
Yeah?
okay.
I mean, and be responsive. Not seen to be. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब hi बोल के छोड़ दिया, right? You have to matter to them.
Engage the audience.
Engage
kind
the
of.
audience,
Right.
matter to, and once you matter to them, yaar, matlab, they will do anything for you. Like so there was this guy from a management institute, I won't name it, who just wrote to me saying, you know what, this is fantastic, this, that, and all. I just said, hey, you know what, you're in this college, why don't you just like spread this among your friends?
Okay.
And we could see numbers from that institute just pumping up in the next like 2-3 hours.
Okay, hours. So I'll tell you what, if you go down and look into one of the biggest hacks that Morning Brew, the newsletter
Yeah.
of the US did, is they started going out to colleges
Yeah.
and literally having their email
Yeah,
IDs
yeah.
written,
So-
right? And that's something which worked for them. So I kind of thought...
Just one more thing, if Morning Brew also advertise on Instagram, by the way, on
Oh, yeah,
Facebook.
definitely.
So it's like it's like we are putting, everybody should put themselves out. Information does on Instagram, Facebook. So it's not a crime. So the way, I think the demonization और ये growth है, ये inorganic है, मतलब जो भी है, there is a
No,
perception.
there's always got to be that advertising
Yeah,
part.
so that needs to be shattered, right? So where I'm coming from is, if 4 out of my 10 readers are organic and the rest 6 are inorganic, I'm okay with it.
I think that's a great thing,
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Because, in fact, there's this thing called Work Week out there. If you know, Work Week is basically, yeah, it's there in the US, and they have a lot of very influential people on Twitter writing newsletters, right?
Okay, so
So, despite the fact
yeah,
that they have influential people writing it, they still have to advertise, and they claim it. It's
yeah.
about 50-60% comes from paid traffic.
So
The
another example, if I want to give you, like very quickly tell you is we work. So all of us work out of WeWorks
Okay.
in Bangalore, right?
Okay.
So Belandur is where I'm at. So
Okay.
I'm in Belandur. My colleagues work out of Infantry Road. Sometimes we go there. So that is a great. That is my audience, man. So I can see them literally in front of me. I can talk to them. I can sell them like easily. I mean, it is so easy to sign up people in WeWork.
Right.
So that it's not funny. I mean, it's literally like you're going out having a coffee break, just talk to them, just explain what you are, what you do, and then the next thing is you'll see is they've signed up.
Okay, but since you've seen that talking to people helps them in signing up, right? Do you see that as a future strategy that you might need to do this on a more concrete level to see
Yeah.
more and more
So I mean, we are. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, we're not. I don't think we're going to put ourselves out there in a very concerted manner. I think to some extent we want our readers to be our champions, and they have delivered. I mean, we have. I mean, so far at least from the 40,000 odd that we've signed up, we have champions who just go and like talk for us.
referrals have worked for you basically
No,
to
we
a
don't
certain
do
extent.
referrals yet.
Yeah, it's not there at the end, but
हाँ,
just word of mouth, people going and speaking.
word of mouth pick up हो रहा है, and we can see an upward trajectory there.
Okay.
And I think obviously having our fundraise announcement helped.
Right, that just happened.
That
Congratulations
just
on
happened.
that, yeah.
Thank you so much. So
Yeah.
that just happened, and I
Right.
think that gives us. I mean, being featured on TechCrunch was obviously a big moment.
Right.
And it just nice vibes all around, man. So for us, the whole thing was that can we, and it look, we knew we'll gain out of this because that's what companies do with fundraise in terms of either their product or their service goes up.
Right.
But it's not concerted, right? It's like, okay, man, whatever you gain, you take it as a bonus and like help retain them.
Right.
I mean, retain them in a good way. So
Right.
can
But-
you make an impression there? Huh?
Right. Tell me something. Any particular thing that didn't work out for you, which you guys thought is going to happen but didn't happen?
In the sense?
You thought that this is going to get you more and more subscribers. So there are two aspects to it. One,
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
mean,
get-
we so obviously things have not. It's not like everything that we've hit, everything that we've done has struck gold. There have been things where we have not been able to crack. I think, and honestly, hands on heart, I still think that we can do better on Twitter. We can do better on LinkedIn. Some of these platforms, I personally am not very familiar with. I mean, apart from Twitter, but we can do better on all these platforms. We can open up, and we are planning to open up Reels very soon, which is going to be something I am looking forward to because I'm not the audience there. But it's more of how can you reel a newsletter, right? Not and that is something we are pretty stoked about. Similarly, obviously we've been, the content. I mean, there has been a content lag in terms of podcast rollouts and stuff, but that's normal because of we were caught up a little bit with fundraise, a little bit, we closed our round, and then a lot of other things here and there. So yeah, it's. I mean, I have no regrets over the last 1 year that how it has panned out.
Right.
But yeah, I would love to definitely get more people signing up to me and like reading me and
Tell me something, Venkat. What are your open rates at the Signal right now?
Yeah, so we do a tracked open rate of 25% every day.
Okay.
That's our approximate number for tracked open rates.
Okay.
But there are also, as you understand, untracked open rates, which are typically iCloud, Proton Mail, Hey. They use this Apple feature called Ask App Not to Track. So by default, app opens are disabled. That number bases our estimates because we've seen again they click links.
Okay.
So links can be so links can be tracked, but not the not the opens. That number we estimated to be around 3 to 4%. So we are talking about 28 to 29% on a daily
29%,
basis.
right?
Yeah.
So cool. I'm going to jump right up into the revenue part
Yes,
of it,
yes,
right? This is
yes.
very important because,
Yes.
a lot of media startups across the world, like you said, the phase 2 media startups like the Vox and everyone, they haven't been able to make money. But abroad, if you see the Morning Brew, the third wave startups in this
Yeah.
media space. They've sold out. Axio sold out for a brilliant amount. The hustle was there. You had this
HubSpot, yeah.
yeah,
Went to HubSpot.
yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah. So, how do you see this panning out in India, and what's been the response so far in terms of monetization for you
So
guys?
yeah, let me take that first question, the second question first. I mean, the last 2-3 months have, I mean, 2-3-4 months have been phenomenal. I'll be honest. I mean, we've been a little overwhelmed with the kind of ads that we've been able to put out. We are advertising, so
I've actually interviewed a lot of people who've clearly told me that they advertised on the signal and it's worked for them.
yeah. So
That's really great.
yeah, which is great endorsement actually. So
Right.
look, that's one thing we are clearly focused on. We're not in a hurry. We are in a hurry. We are in a hurry to not basically to jump the gun.
Right.
But we are in a hurry to sort of see if this can be done. Let me give you context. And we want to get it done. That's where we are at. Let me give you some context.
Right.
I don't know how many newsletters today have advertising. I mean, the Ken recently started out advertising, but that I don't know if they've
I haven't seen
continued
it
with
yet.
it.
No.
Yeah. So the point is, it gives us right now at least quote unquote a free highway. I mean, yeah, you have the banner ads that you see on like Economic Times and Mint and all those.
Yeah.
Those are typically clickable.
You're not doing that, right?
We
You're
don't do
simply,
that. We don't do
It's
that.
more of native.
Yeah, it says more of native, handwritten, handcrafted writing for
Yeah.
ads. But look, so the exciting part is that we are sort of the only ones doing it.
Exactly.
But that's also a scary part, right? I mean, in the sense that while there will be opportunities, there will also be. There will also, I mean, it will also be something that we have to be prepared for, right? In the sense that there'll be eyes on us. So to that extent, I'm excited.
Okay.
And how we are going about it, we are taking it moderately paced. We are in third gear right now. We've not hit fourth, fifth gear.
Okay.
Yet, but we will be very soon. That I'm very clear about because that's how I'm. I mean,
But you guys are focused on this native ads section
yes,
right now?
no, it's so we are right now only serving inbounds. We do have a number that we have in mind, which we will hit very soon.
Okay.
After which we want to open it up to everything. We want to go aggressive on outbounds. Start talking to people, start onboarding them, build up ad inventory.
Right.
So that is that number has not yet sort of. I mean, we are doing it on our own
But
personal.
it's increasing where more and more people are reaching out to you for
Yeah, we have
advertisements.
been. Yeah, so literally the last 3-4 days, we've just. I mean, the last week at least, we've been getting a lot of inbounds on how we could work together.
Right.
Etc. Etc. So that is something I'm particularly pumped about, and I think we can. Because one of the things that I heard from the market was that we're not very expensive. I mean, we may be a little niche when it comes to when it comes to audiences rather, but
Right.
we are not. No, we are not a social network, right? So we can't give you 200 million or whatever. So
Right.
and for us, the opportunity and one of the things we tell advertisers is, boss, don't come here for performance. I'm not going to give you performance.
Okay.
And I can't give you performance.
Okay.
I can't give you conversions. Come here to make an audience that will take you 1, 2, 3 months to acquire on Instagram
Okay.
or on any other platform. Take that and do it in a day over 4 or whatever. Do it over 4 weeks. Do it over, whatever.
Okay.
That's your choice.
Right.
That's where I'm at. So for us, that is the exciting part, to try and aggregate a lot of interesting advertisers because our audience is also curated.
What are these advertisers? The inbound leads that are coming in. Which sector are they?
Technology,
startups?
D2C, we have D2C, technology, venture capital.
You have tech startups as well because
Big tech, tech startups. It's been fun, man. It's been a little.
right, and I think because of the fact that you have a niche audience, you can charge higher CPMs than the ordinary amount.
So
right?
that is something we will get to. We have not been able to nail that down yet, but that is something we will definitely figure out, because once we have the look, that's exactly why I split my cohorts, right?
Right.
There is one HNI cohort who I can potentially sell a Tesla to, and then there is this other cohort. I mean, I'm just saying, the other cohort who I can potentially sell let's say a Uniqlo to, because they would want to try something like that.
Right.
So that's where we are at right now, and that's the so one is very aspirational, one is one has achieved. So we are at the intersection of aspiration and achievement, basically.
Okay, great.
Or achieved in the sense relative to their own aspirations. Yeah. So,
Okay, great.
matlab,
That's
yeah.
positive. So coming back to the first question
Yes.
that I asked, where do you see this? I think I'll do this question later. The first question is, what next for the Signal?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very clear path that we have in mind. I mean, we've been definitely we will branch out. The Signal will not be the only newsletter you'll get from our stable.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're
Yeah,
talking
so
about different niches, probably.
yeah,
Okay.
we might go the Axios way.
Okay. Local newsletters.
Not yet, but
Okay.
that's something that I mean, I don't know how many. Man, so I'll be honest. I think for local news, I still trust the Times of India. I mean,
Okay.
wherever I am.
Okay.
Hindustan Times in
All right.
Delhi. So I don't think that's the best curation you can get.
Okay.
Matlab, you don't have to I don't have to, because it's again reinventing the wheel, right? You have to go and search. Acha, ये पश्चिम बिहार में ये हुआ,
Right.
ये धौला कुआं में look, it makes no sense for me.
Okay.
And I don't know, cities are too big to serve. Yeah,
Okay.
cities are TAMs by themselves.
All right.
So I don't think yet I have that vision that can I go deeper into, and then suddenly then what? Then you'd say, yaar, I mean, can you do a newsletter for Belandur? Can you do a newsletter for HSR?
Right.
Yes, matlab it just. But yes, local news is something we will definitely think about at the right time.
Okay.
But currently we are definitely getting into sports. That's
Okay.
again a familiar territory for me.
You're going into more of a genre-based niche rather than
We will
territory-wise,
yeah,
right?
so that is something we are doing. I mean, we and I keep saying this, I said this during my fundraise as well, that look, we want to come out with stuff that is relevant not today,
Right.
but in 2 years time. Yeah, because that gives me enough of a pipeline to not just monetization ko chodo, but to grow that space, right?
Okay.
So if I'm doing, let's say, sport, I want to be able to grow that audience over a period of time.
So the content strategy remains the same. You're going to be curating
It is
content.
it is exactly the same.
Alright.
It is going to the frequency will change. We will not be doing every day.
Exactly, because sports every day will kind
Yeah,
of
we
become
will.
difficult.
Yeah, so sports and gaming is what we're
it's
looking at.
gaming
So,
as well.
yeah, so it's called BOSG, Business of Sports and Gaming.
Okay.
And then obviously more niches will come. I mean, that's the one that's getting off the block next month. So
Right. How big a team are you guys?
we are about, I don't know. We are a small team. Yeah, we are a small team, double digits, 10, 11. I don't want to get sacked for this, but yeah, we are
No,
around.
right. Makes sense. So, okay.
Yeah, I think we are 10.
Great to know that, this is what you guys are looking into. And I'm actually very interested about local newsletters, but I think you're very true. Then it becomes a very large operation, per city, and then you're
Exactly.
tracking-
So we want to keep it short, simple, small, but high quality. And again, it will force me into writing about a cow in the middle of Belandur Lake. And I mean, no man, I don't. My incentives don't align yet with local, but there's always a problem. Like can you reimagine local?
Okay.
And can you reimagine local in a slightly different way? Can you write about cities, not Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta? Can you write just urban spaces? I mean, there are multiple ways to sort of reimagine local, right? So
Right.
that's how we are looking at it. We're not looking at it ki kya ek city, do city.
I'll
Maybe we will in the future.
In the future. But, I'll just come back to this one small question,
Sure.
about the sports thing that you're starting. What makes you decide that I'm going to start sports? Is it the niche audience that you can monetize? Do you think about it on those lines? Or do you think that this is just an underserved segment?
We do. It's all of that, all of the above. Actually, we have to. I mean, at the end of the day, revenue is
Exactly.
a prime goal and objective, and I won't lie. So we look at that. We look at potential. We look at opportunities. We look at. And we feel that there is a black hole there. So we feel that that's a very low-hanging fruit for us to get into, because Chinmay and I come from a sports-ish background. So
Alright.
so whoever comes and joins us will definitely get that support. Will get that.
Mix.
Can take advantage of our network
Makes sense.
and take it forward. So it's a very So we consider everything. To answer your question, we definitely do consider all factors go in, man. We can't just
Exactly.
यार मुझे करना है इसलिए नहीं कर सकते हैं ना. So it's like everything has to be factored.
Right.
So.
And you know what? I'm going to end this with the last question.
Sure.
Is where do you see it in the larger space, this space evolving in India vis-a-vis the US as well? Right. We see a definite pattern. What didn't succeed there probably will not succeed here. And what succeeded there. Do you see a
Yeah,
pattern?
so number one, I would say it's too early. I mean, I think it's too early. Everyone's playing their cards out there. For all you know, tomorrow, let's say let's assume the Ken goes free. Then what happens?
Right.
They won't, but let's assume morning context goes. I think it's just very much playing. You have to, like they say, right? Like it's a famous quote. I'm not famous quote, but there's this line in cricket where they say you play the ball and not the bowler.
Right.
You have to keep playing the ball. You don't have to play the bowler at all.
Right.
So for us, the thing is, we will have our eyes on the ball. We will try and see how we can succeed. I mean, I can't speak for others. Everyone's trying here. I mean,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, for me, if they grow, I grow.
Right.
I mean, they are growing the newsletter pie. I'm eating that 1% into that pie. So for me, where I think in a big picture, this going forward, obviously a lot of people are writing on Substack. I mean, it clearly seems to be a popular
Right.
Platform for people to
It's very easy also.
Yeah, very bloggy, and you can just write and make an audience and ship it out and stuff. So that's a good indication that this market is here. But I can also tell you one thing, that newsletters is not particularly the end game for us.
Okay.
Yeah, we are a newsletter today. We'll be something else tomorrow. I mean,
So
we
5
don't know.
years down the line, the signal.
We
is
don't
what
know.
a
We'll
media
be
company.
we don't know what we'll be. I mean,
Alright.
we know what we want to be in terms of everything else, but what shape it will take, I can't tell you. I mean, I'll be a reel for all you know.
Okay.
So I'll be a TikTok. I mean, if it's coming back to India, I'll be a TikTok for all you know. So where I am at right now, I think newsletters are there. And we are happy to adapt, right? We are very flexible. That gives us that, I'm not committed to, अच्छा मुझे यही करना है.
Okay.
मुझे यही करते रहना है, यही करते रहना. If tomorrow the reader says, boss, screw you guys, I don't open my mails in the morning, I want an app. Can I think about it? I will. And I am thinking about it. I mean, I'm already 2 paces ahead, right? I mean, there are people already who are asking us, अरे app कब आएगा? I mean, this has been and this is the exact thing we noticed at the Ken also, back in 2016, by the way.
Okay.
And then we launched an app 6-8 months later. So once, I think for us, the first part was to get content right.
Right.
To some extent, get distribution right. Okay. So that part has been taken care of by newsletters. Now the third level is going to be other things, right? So that is technology, right? So obviously we are going to invest in technology in the near future, because we are...
You're going to adapt to the new user behavior particularly and serve them content in some way or the other.
Yes, that's correct. And obviously we will be, I mean, I don't want to say it aloud, but we will be hitting the market soon. So
Great. So, you know what, Venkat, thanks a lot for today. I think it's been great talking to you.
Jugal.
And
I hope I made some sense, and
definitely.
it was
A
good
lot of points have come out, particularly the phases. If you look at it, how media has evolved across the world, and even in India, we are seeing that right now.
Yeah.
And of course, you guys are at the forefront of it right now. The biggest name in the newsletter space, at least.
It sounds intimidating, but I will let others take the limelight. We are happy being where we are at this point of time. I mean, others are doing a job as well. Others are doing their thing. We are very happy to be playing a small role in that at this point of time. But definitely, we also have big ambitions. So we'll slowly start building towards that. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Great.
I appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot.
Superb.
And all the best.
Hey,
for
thank you so
Signal.
much for having me, first and foremost, on behalf of my co-founders, and obviously a shout out to you guys as well for doing, for starting something interesting. I think conversations around media is often in bars or gossip circles. Trying to expand the reach of the kind of business that we are in is a fairly good initiative, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Thanks a lot.
Nothing but that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Super,
Thanks.
man.
Thank you.